I've followed cheaters into cheap hotels, crawled through vents in corporate boardrooms, bribed receptionists with overpriced bourbon, and once even tailed a CEO across 2 state lines just to watch him cry in his car outside a strip club. So when a man in a tailored gray suit and sunglasses walked into my office and dropped an envelope of cash thicker than my wrist onto my desk, I didn't even blink. "The subject's name is Celeste Moreau," he said, voice as cold as his watch was expensive. "You're to document her routines, behaviors, contacts. Nothing else." "No context?" I asked, flipping through the brief file. It held a photo, black and white, as if printed from a security feed. The woman in it was looking away from the camera, lips slightly parted, hair pinned back with brutal precision. No history, no suspicion, no motive. The less you know, the safer you are. That's never true. It is this time. I should have said no right then. The kind of job that pays too much for too little is always the kind that gets you killed, or worse. But I needed the money. And I was curious. And I have a problem with beautiful women in mystery folders. "1 week," I said. "Then we renegotiate." He nodded once and left. He didn't tell me his name. I didn't ask. That was 7 nights ago. Since then, I've followed Celeste Moreau through the back alleys and neon veins of the city, through high-end jazz bars and forgotten art galleries, through hotel rooftops that only the elite know exist. And she still doesn't know I exist. I think. She only appears after sunset. Never before. I waited outside her building once, from dawn till dusk, and she never emerged. The concierge told me she was out of town. An hour later, I spotted her 2 blocks away in a blood-red dress, sipping something too thick to be wine from a glass that never emptied. Love what you've seen so far, and want to help me keep creating these awesome stories on this channel? Then subscribe and hit the bell. Your subscription supports the channel and makes sure you get more exciting stories. I'd be lying if I said I hadn't felt it then. That twist in my stomach, sharp and electric. It was the same instinct I always had right before things went sideways. She was too composed. Too elegant. Every step calculated. Every glance deliberate. And yet, there was a fracture. I saw it once. 2 nights ago. She stood beneath a street lamp, alone, waiting. Her phone lit up with a call. She didn't answer. Her jaw clenched. Her other hand, bare, pale, shook. Then she looked up, as if sensing me across the street. Our eyes met. And for a second, I forgot who I was, why I was there, what I was doing. All I knew was that I shouldn't have looked at her twice. But I did. And now I can't stop. Tonight, I follow her to a place called Halo. It's not on any public map. No social media tags. No website. Just a symbol on a black door. A half moon and an hourglass. The line outside is velvet-roped and silent, filled with people too beautiful and too dead-eyed to be real. I watch from across the street, camera ready, pulse erratic. She enters without showing ID. The bouncer bows. She doesn't look back. I wait 30 minutes, then slip inside using a fake name and the right amount of cash. Halo smells like rain and roses and metal. The walls shimmer, pulsing with faint sound. No one speaks above a whisper. No one dances. They just watch. And at the center of it all, perched on a velvet couch like a queen with no throne, is Celeste. She's wearing something silk and dark and sharp, cut low enough to make my mouth dry. Her eyes scan the room lazily, like a predator who already fed and might be hungry again soon. I freeze. She's looking right at me. No, through me. As if she already knew I was coming. As if she's been expecting me all along. My legs move before I think. Toward her. This is a mistake. A big one. But my hands are sweating, and my heart is screaming something I can't hear through the static in my head. I reach her. She doesn't speak. Just pats the seat beside her. I sit. I shouldn't. But I do. You've been following me, she says. Her voice is smoother than sin. No, I lie. She smiles like she knows the truth and likes it anyway. You're not very good at it. Then why haven't you stopped me? Because I was curious. About what? What kind of woman gets paid to follow monsters? I laugh. It comes out too loud. Monsters? Yes, she says, sipping something dark. Like me. I try to stay calm. I don't believe in monsters. Then you're either very lucky or very foolish. I've been both. And which are you now? Foolish, apparently. She leans closer. Her perfume is ancient. Spiced. Almost smoky. Her lips are inches from mine. Do you know what I do with foolish women? I swallow hard. What? She smiles wider, teeth just slightly too sharp. I let them stay. And I do. I stay. For hours. I don't ask questions. I don't take pictures. I just sit there, heart beating like a warning bell, while she talks about paintings she's seen in Paris, wines that don't exist anymore, composers who wrote music only she remembers. I don't believe any of it. And I believe every word. When I leave, it's nearly sunrise. My phone has 10 missed calls from the client. I don't answer. I don't send my report. I don't even write down what happened. Because I don't know how to explain that the woman I'm supposed to be watching feels more like someone I'm waiting for. Someone I've always been waiting for. And I don't know how to explain the way I already know her voice will haunt me. Or how I dream of her that night. Not as a target. Not even as a stranger. But as a shadow in my bed. A whisper on my skin. A hunger I don't understand. Yet. I woke up with her name on my tongue. Not like a curse. Not like a warning. Like a prayer. My apartment was cold, the sun too bright, the sheets tangled. I sat up slowly, head pounding. I hadn't drunk anything. But I felt drunk. Drunk on perfume that no longer clung to my skin. Drunk on a voice that echoed in the hollow of my ribs. Celeste. It wasn't the first time I dreamed of a woman I was watching. But it was the first time I wanted her to dream of me back. My phone buzzed. 11 missed calls. 1 text. Unknown number. Report. Now. I stared at it for a long time before deleting the message. I didn't respond. I didn't want to think about the man who hired me, or the lies in the folder, or the rules I'd already started breaking. I just wanted to see her again. And that scared me. Because wanting is dangerous. Wanting clouds judgment. I knew that better than anyone. But I still got up, got dressed, and walked out into the night like I had somewhere I was meant to be. The streets were colder now. Or maybe it was me. I checked her building first. Empty. No sign of her car, her driver, her shadow. I waited across the street for an hour. Nothing. Then I felt it. A shift in the air. Like gravity bending. Like being watched. I turned. She was already there. Standing by a black car. Door open. Expression unreadable. Get in, she said. Not a question. Not a request. I hesitated. My pulse screamed no. But everything else in me whispered yes. So I obeyed. The door closed behind me with a soft click. The interior smelled like leather and frost. She didn't look at me. Didn't speak. Just drove. Fast. Clean. Through streets I thought I knew. But she turned down alleys that shouldn't have been there. Past buildings that didn't exist yesterday. Where are we going? I asked. Somewhere quiet. Why? Because I want to know who you really are. I laughed, nervous. I'm the one who's supposed to be asking you that. She glanced at me then. Her eyes were darker tonight. Deeper. Almost red in the right light. You think I don't know you're watching me? Do you always let your shadows sit beside you? Only the interesting ones. And what makes me interesting? You haven't decided what you want from me yet. That makes you honest. And dangerous? To yourself, maybe. She pulled into a parking garage beneath a building I didn't recognize. The elevator ride was silent. My hands were sweating. She touched no buttons. The doors opened to a penthouse, so clean it looked unlived in. Marble. Glass. Moonlight. A piano in the corner. Books in languages I didn't recognize. She tossed her keys on the table, took off her coat, stared at me like I was the one being hunted now. Drink, she asked. Only if you're pouring it. She smiled. Brave. Desperate. Same thing. She handed me a glass. Dark red. Not wine. Not anything I'd tasted before. It burned. sweet and bitter. I drank too much too fast. Her fingers grazed mine as she took the glass back. You dream of me, she said.
What?
Your thoughts are loud. You read minds now.
No.
But I know hunger when I feel it. You think I'm hungry? I think you don't know what you're starving for. And you do. Yes. I stepped closer. She didn't move. I was inches from her. I could smell her skin, warm and cold at once. I could feel her breath, too steady, too controlled. Tell me what I'm starving for, I whispered. Me, she said. Her lips barely moved. And then they did. Against mine.
Slow.
Precise. Her kiss didn't ask. It took. It consumed. I kissed her back because not kissing her felt impossible. Like not breathing. Her hand slid beneath my jacket, fingers cool and strong. Mine went to her waist, pulling her closer, until our bodies fit like puzzle pieces that had waited centuries to touch. It didn't feel like the first time. It felt like the 100th, like memory, like inevitability. She pulled away first, barely an inch. Her lips were redder now, her breath perfectly calm. You don't know what I am, she said. No, I said, voice raw. But I don't care. You will. Then show me. She laughed, low and dangerous. Careful. You might mean that. I do. Then remember it. She turned. The moment shattered. The distance came back. I sat on the edge of her couch, heart pounding, blood loud. She stood by the window, watching the city like it belonged to her. You should leave, she said.
Why?
Because you've already forgotten who sent you. I froze. How do you? I know many things, she said, including that you're not the only one watching. Who else? She didn't answer. She just walked toward me again, eyes soft now, something breaking behind them. They'll come for me soon, she said. And if you're near me when they do, they'll come for you too. Then tell me everything. Let me help. You don't help a storm, she whispered. You survive it. What are you, Celeste? Something you should never have found. Too late. Her hand cupped my cheek. Cold. Tender. You were never just a shadow, she said. Not to me. And for the first time I saw it. Not the hunger. Not the power. The loneliness. The centuries of it. The silence of it. She didn't want to be loved. She wanted to be seen. And somehow, against every rule, every warning, every paycheck, I saw her. She didn't kiss me again. She didn't need to. I left before sunrise. She didn't follow. But when I got home, there was a package on my desk. No label. No name. Inside, another file. A photo of Celeste. A date. A time. A directive. Terminate. I stared at it for a long, long time. Then I set it on fire. The flames ate through the file like it had never mattered. It should have scared me. Burning evidence, destroying instructions, choosing a side before the war even started. But it didn't. It felt like clarity. Like finally stepping into something I'd been circling since the moment Celeste Moreau first looked at me, like I was more than just another pair of eyes in the dark. I stood in my kitchen barefoot, watching the last ash curl into smoke, and realized I wasn't walking away. I was going in deeper. The client called twice that night. I didn't answer. On the third call, I picked up. Where's the report? He asked, voice clipped. I burned it, I said.
Silence.
Then, colder. You understand the consequences of betrayal? I understand you didn't tell me what she is. That's classified. So's your conscience, I assume. You're in over your head. Maybe I want to drown. You'll get us all killed. Then stop sending girls like me to do your dirty work. I hung up, threw the phone across the room, watched it hit the wall and shatter. It didn't make me feel better. Nothing did. Except her. I waited 2 nights before going back. I told myself I needed space to think, but the truth was simpler. I was afraid. Not of her. Of what I was becoming when I was near her. Weak.
No. Exposed.
I wasn't used to anyone seeing through me. I wasn't used to craving it. Her building hadn't changed. But the doorman didn't look me in the eyes this time. He just opened the door without a word and vanished inside. The elevator didn't need buttons. The penthouse opened before I could knock. Celeste stood in the doorway, barefoot, in a silk robe the color of blood and night. Her hair was down. Her eyes were tired. "You're late," she said. "I wasn't invited. You never needed to be." I stepped inside. She didn't move. She just looked at me like I was the last thing she expected to return. "They know you're off the leash," she said. "They'll come for both of us now." "Then let them." That's a death sentence. I've been dying for years. This just gives it meaning. "You don't know what you're saying." "I know I couldn't stomach turning you in. I know I don't care what you are." She turned her back to me, walking to the window. The city pulsed below, like a sleeping giant. "You should care," she said. "Then tell me, what are you running from?" "Myself." "Then stop." "I can't." "Try." "You want a story, Riley?" "Fine." "I was born before your country had a name. I've watched empires rise and fall. I've watched lovers die in my arms. I've forgotten the sound of my own voice in mirrors. I don't sleep. I don't breathe unless I want to. And the only reason I haven't disappeared into myth is because something about you makes me remember how it felt to be human." My throat closed. I didn't move. She kept talking softer now. "The man who hired you is part of an old order. They call themselves the Pale Ward. They hunt what they fear. And they've feared me for centuries. They thought using you would be clever, that you'd seduce me into vulnerability. They were half right. I didn't seduce you."
No.
"You simply looked at me like I wasn't damned, like I was possible." "You are."
No.
"I'm not. But I want to be." I walked to her slowly. She didn't stop me. Her eyes glistened. And when I reached her, she let me touch her cheek, let me rest my forehead against hers like we'd done this before. Like we'd never stopped. "What happens now?" I asked. "Now," she whispered, "we run." "Where?" "Does it matter?" "Not to me. You'll regret this." "I already regret not doing it sooner." "I drink blood." "You drink wine, too." "I've killed people." "So have I." "I'm a monster." "No," I said. "You're mine." She kissed me like I was already lost. Like the world outside didn't matter. Like centuries could be rewritten with teeth and tongue and touch. And I let her. I let her strip me bare, mind and body, until there was nothing left between us but truth.
She didn't bite me.
She could have. She didn't. She just held me after, silent, her skin impossibly cold, her heart still as stone. "Will you tell me your real name?" I asked. "Celeste is the only name I kept," she said. "It means heavenly. Fitting. Dangerous." We stayed like that for hours, wrapped in something that felt like surrender, until the sirens broke the silence. Not police. Not ambulances. The kind of sirens you only hear when death is circling overhead. "They've found us," she said, rising, dressing with a calm that sent ice through my spine. "Run." I asked. "Too late." She handed me a blade, not a gun, not a stake. An obsidian dagger etched with runes. "Stay behind me," she said. "No," I replied. "I'm not your shadow anymore." She looked at me then. Not like a woman looks at someone she wants, but like a woman who knows she's found the one person she can't bear to lose. "Then don't die for me," she said. "Die with me if you must. But not for me." "I don't plan on dying at all." The door shattered, and the first hunter stepped through. And I stepped in front of her, blade ready, heart unshaken. Because she was no longer the monster I was chasing. She was the reason I stopped running. The first hunter came through the broken door like a shadow with edges. Tall, armored, eyes gleaming with conviction, not fear. He wasn't just there to kill. He was there to erase. Celeste didn't flinch. She stepped beside me, not behind, her hands empty but her body humming with something ancient and invisible. "His name is Rulien," she whispered. "He's the one who found me last time. He thinks this time he'll win."
"Then he's wrong," I said.
"Because I'm here now." "You're mortal." And he's arrogant. Let's see who bleeds first. The room felt like it had no air. Rulian stepped forward, raising a blade carved from bone, his mouth moving around words not meant for human ears. The symbols on the dagger Celeste had given me began to glow. I didn't understand how, but my hands didn't shake. I stepped into his path like I belonged there. You were warned, he said. You were chosen. No, I said. I was hired, and I quit. She has you under her spell. She doesn't need a spell. She has eyes. His blade came down fast. I ducked, twisted, struck back. The dagger in my hand hummed louder, slicing through fabric and into flesh. He screamed, but not in pain, in fury. Behind me, I felt Celeste move. She didn't run. She didn't hide. She reached into the dark with bare hands and pulled shadows from the walls. They answered her like loyal dogs. The room went black, the kind of black that has weight. I couldn't see, but I could feel her. Everywhere. Rulian choked, staggered, shouted something I didn't understand. Light returned. He was on the floor. Not dead, but defeated. He won't stop, Celeste said. Neither will I. I expected her to finish him. She didn't. She knelt beside him and whispered something in a language I couldn't place. His eyes rolled back. He collapsed. Not dead. Asleep. Maybe forever. You spared him? I asked. I've killed enough things in my lifetime. Let me try something else. She looked at me then, and the shadows melted from her skin. Her hands trembled. You shouldn't be here. I'm exactly where I need to be. You're bleeding. I looked down. Blood on my ribs. I hadn't felt the cut. Now I did. It burned. She crossed the room in an instant, fingers on my side, cool breath on my neck. It's poisoned, she said. Of course it is. I can fix it, but it will hurt. Do it. She looked into my eyes, and for the first time, I saw fear in hers. Not for herself. For me. You have to trust me. I already do. Her lips found mine first, not gently, but like the beginning of a storm. Then she bit me.
Sharp. Deep.
Not cruel. Not careless. My blood rushed out. Hers rushed in. It wasn't pain. It was fire. It was drowning and breathing at the same time. Visions exploded behind my eyes, memories that weren't mine. Candles burning in stone halls. Music from centuries ago.
War. Silence.
Loneliness. And then always her, Celeste. Searching. Watching. Waiting. For something. For someone.
For me.
When I woke, the wound was gone.
The shadows were gone.
But she was there, holding me like I was something she couldn't afford to lose. What did you do to me? I asked, voice weak. I saved you. What did it cost? A piece of me. Did you give it freely? Without hesitation. Then take whatever you need. Her eyes closed. Her forehead pressed to mine. You shouldn't say things like that. Why not? Because you don't know what I am. I know what you are to me. And what's that? A mistake I'd make again. The silence between us wasn't empty. It pulsed with something raw, something real. They'll send more, she said.
Good.
I want them to. You don't know what they're capable of. They don't know what I'm becoming. What do you mean? When you bit me, I saw things. That shouldn't be possible. Well, it happened. I saw you. I felt you. Everything you were. Everything you lost. She stiffened. Then you know why I can't love anyone. Too late. You saw how it ends. Yes. And you still want me? Yes. She didn't kiss me again. She just held my hand like it was the only thing keeping her alive. And maybe it was. That night, we ran. Not far, but far enough. We found a hotel with no cameras. A room with heavy curtains. A silence we could fill. We didn't sleep. We didn't speak much. We just touched.
Slowly. Carefully.
Like we were relearning each other with every breath. And when she curled against me just before dawn, her voice was nothing but a whisper against my skin. They'll take everything from you. Then I'll give it willingly. Don't make me your reason. You already are.
She sighed.
A sound made of centuries. You weren't born for me, Riley. I know, I said. But I'd die for you anyway. I don't want you to die. Then fight to keep me alive. That I can do. We slept. For an hour. Maybe 2. Then the fire alarms went off. Smoke. Screams. I sat up. She was already on her feet. They found us.
How?
I let them. Why? She looked back at me, eyes filled with sorrow and resolve. Because it's time I stopped running and started ending this. We fight. We survive. Together? She looked at me like I was a miracle. Always. The flames in the hallway weren't from the fire alarm. They were real. Controlled. Precision set. Fueled with something that didn't belong in this world. Celeste was already pulling me to my feet, her grip firm and unshakable. Her face was calm, but her eyes weren't. They flickered, too fast, too bright. Not just red this time.
Gold.
They're sealing the exits, she said. It's a containment strategy. They want us scared. Cornered. Are you? No, good. Because I am. That makes one of us human tonight. She ripped the blackout curtains from the windows, shattering the glass with a single open palm. The city outside still slept. Unaware. Indifferent. She turned to me. Jump with me. How high is this? 7 stories. That's, trust me. And I did. I always did. We jumped. She wrapped herself around me in midair, and I swear I felt her wings. Not real ones, but something deeper. Something beneath the skin of reality, between heartbeat and silence. We landed hard. I rolled, groaned, coughed. She didn't even flinch. I looked up. She was already scanning the rooftops, the alleyways, her head tilted like a predator, hearing distant prey. They're flanking east, she said. They'll try to separate us. Then let's not let them. She turned to me slowly, and there was something soft in her expression now. You keep saying us. Because there is no you without me anymore. Say that again. There's no you without me. God help us both. She took my hand and ran. We cut through back streets and sewer tunnels, chased by flickers of steel and the buzz of tracking sigils humming in the air like mosquitoes. I'd never run like this before. Not from the law, or bullets, or fists, but from something ancient and patient and hungry. Celeste moved like smoke. I moved like desperation. Together, we didn't feel real. We reached an abandoned church at the edge of the old quarter. Ivy covered the doors. Blood stained the stone. She stopped short. We hide here? I asked. No, she said. We end it here. This place matters. This is where I was born. I blinked. What? Not the first time. The second. The time that mattered. Inside, the church was cold and cracked and full of memories that didn't belong to me. The air felt heavier. The light slanted strangely. I felt her tense beside me. He'll come here, she said. The real one. The one behind the order. The one who made me what I am. You mean you're my sire. The word tasted like ash. He runs the Pale Ward? He is the Pale Ward. The original shadow. The first lie. And he wants me back. Then he'll have to go through me. She turned to face me. If he touches you, I'll burn this city to ash. Good. Because if he touches you, I'll cut out his heart with the same knife I used on Rulian. Her mouth twitched. Almost a smile. You don't know what he is, Riley. Then tell me. He's the one who taught me how to feed, how to kill, how to forget, and the one who made me think I didn't deserve love. Then let me be the one to prove you do. The shadows moved then. They didn't walk. They slid, glided, coalesced into something tall and wrong and familiar to her, not to me.
I didn't need her to say it.
I knew. This was him. Her maker. Her ghost. Her curse. Celestine, he said, voice like velvet draped over broken glass. You've made a mess. My name is Celeste now. Still hiding in softness. Still free. Not for long. You'll try. And you'll fall. He turned to me, eyes like eclipses. And what's this? Your little pet? Or your new leash? I'm the one who kills you, I said, stepping forward, blade drawn. He laughed. I like her. That makes one of us, Celeste said. Why fight? He asked her. Why bleed for them? For this? You're not human. You never were. Maybe not. But I feel more alive with her than I ever did with you. Then let me remind you who you are. He moved faster than I could see. Inhuman. Inescapable. But Celeste met him in kind, crashing into him with a roar that shattered the stained glass above us. The battle was not graceful. It was brutal. Magic tore through the walls. Screams echoed through centuries. I watched as the woman I'd fallen for bled for me, clawed through her past for me, and I knew I wasn't just in this. I was part of it. So I joined. I plunged my dagger into the dark. I chanted the words she whispered to me under her breath. I gave her my blood when hers failed. I pressed my mouth to hers mid-battle and tasted fury and devotion and death. And finally, when the sun threatened to rise and her sire lay broken beneath the bones of the altar, she turned to me, panting, glowing, undone. He's gone, she said. Is it over? I asked.
No.
It's just beginning. Then let's begin together. She fell into me, not like collapse, like surrender. And I held her like a vow, because this was never a job, never a case. It was a calling, and she was the storm I let inside. The church burned behind us, not from rage, from release. Celeste didn't look back. She never does. She walked forward through the smoke like a queen leaving her funeral. And I followed, my body aching, my blood still echoing with the magic she poured into me. Something was wrong. Or maybe not wrong, different. The dagger I used pulsed against my thigh. The air felt heavy only when I breathed. I was aware of everything. The sound of a moth dying against a lamplight, the shift in temperature every time she took a step further from me. I felt tethered to her, and I didn't know if it was love or something older. What's happening to me? I asked as we reached the safety of an abandoned subway line. Celeste didn't answer at first. She just watched me with those endless eyes, as if seeing something bloom in me that terrified her. You changed, she said softly. When you touched his blood, when you fed me yours, something passed between us. A virus? I tried to joke. My voice cracked.
No.
Something worse. Or better. What am I becoming? What they always feared you could be. A threat? A bridge. I swallowed. My hands were trembling. I wasn't scared. Not of what I was. I was scared of losing control. Tell me the truth. She stepped close, brushed my hair from my cheek. You're becoming like me, she whispered. But not exactly. Your blood is different. You've always been different, haven't you? I don't know what that means. You've never belonged to the world they gave you. Never followed rules unless you could twist them. Never feared monsters because you've always known you were born to walk among them. So what now? Now we figure out what you really are. Together? She smiled, small and sad. If you still want to. I don't want to, I said. I need to. That night, we hid in a safe house below the city, an old crypt sealed with spells she hadn't spoken in decades. She lit candles that hissed like they were alive. She drew symbols on my skin with ash and salt and something metallic I didn't ask about. What are we doing? I asked. Testing your limits. You really know how to romance a girl. You'd rather I make you dinner? Only if it doesn't involve blood. No promises. Her hands moved over my arms, slow and steady, tracing the runes. I shivered, not from cold, from the way her touch settled into me like it had always been there. You feel everything now, don't you? She asked. Everything. The shift in air? Yes. The pulse under the city? Yes. Me? Always. Good. That means it's working. What is? Your rebirth. I didn't agree to that. You didn't have to. Your soul did. I laughed, shaky. That's dramatic. So, is transformation. Will I thirst? Eventually. Will I die?
No.
You'll evolve. Will I become like you? She hesitated.
No.
You'll become more. The ritual ended just before dawn. My skin glowed faintly where her symbols touched me. I didn't sleep. I didn't need to. Instead, I watched her. She lay with her head on my chest, fingers curled against my ribs, like I was the one anchoring her. You're scared, I whispered. I'm not used to letting people change me, she said. But you let me. I didn't have a choice. You changed me the moment you looked at me like I was still worth saving. I kissed her forehead. You are. Don't forget who we're up against next. I thought it was over. His death created a power vacuum, and monsters don't like silence. Then they'll come for me?
No.
They'll come for us. The Pale Ward didn't scatter after the Sire's fall. They reorganized. They appointed a new leader. And she was worse. Not older, not stronger, but crueler. Her name was Isa. No last name, no title, just Isa. She was human, allegedly, but her knowledge of supernatural biology made her more dangerous than any vampire. She didn't want Celeste dead. She wanted her studied, and she wanted me caged. She'll twist you, Celeste warned me as we moved from safe house to safe house. She'll tell you you're special, that you're rare. She'll make you doubt me. I won't. You will. Because she'll speak to the part of you that's still searching for answers. Then give me answers first. I don't have them. Lie better. I'm not lying. Then bleed better. She flinched. I regretted it instantly. I'm sorry.
No.
You're right. You're changing, and I'm still hiding. I don't want you to hide from me. Then I'll show you everything. That night, she took me to the place where she was first turned. Not the church. The real place. A field outside the city, where the grass still refused to grow. He brought me here, she said. He said it was mercy. It wasn't.
No.
It was hunger. She knelt, pressed her palm to the earth. It sizzled, and a memory poured out. Faint, silver, glowing. I saw her past. Not just heard it. Felt it.
Saw the girl she'd been. The blood.
The bite. The first kill.
The shame.
The centuries of it. And I reached for her. You survived it, I said. Barely. You're not alone anymore. Neither are you. That was the night I stopped being human. Not because my heart stopped, but because my soul shifted. Because the woman beside me looked at me like I was her equal, not her rescue. And because I felt something in me stretch wide, wider than pain, wider than desire. Something that belonged to fire and shadow and love. I kissed her in that dead field like it was the center of the universe. Because in that moment it was. And when we returned to the city, when we stepped back into the underground world that hunted her, us, I felt different. I didn't breathe unless I chose to. My reflection flickered. My touch lit candles. My hunger sang. I was still Riley Santos. But I was no longer prey. I was becoming the thing they feared. And I wasn't afraid of that anymore. The first time Isa spoke to me, I wasn't even in the same room. Her voice came through an old speaker mounted in a subway tunnel, metallic and calm, the kind of voice used to deliver eulogies or threats that don't sound like threats until the silence that follows. Riley Santos, she said, and I froze, because she said it like she knew me, like she'd always known me. Do you feel it now? The pull? The fire? I reached for my blade, though I knew she wasn't there. Celeste stepped in front of me, lips pressed in a thin line. She's baiting you. It's working. She wants you angry. She wants you reckless. Then let's give her what she wants and tear her to pieces. Not like this, Celeste said, placing her palm against my chest. Her hand trembled. Not from fear. From something deeper. She's not a hunter like the others. She's a strategist. She doesn't come for your throat. She comes for your soul. Then she picked the wrong girl. Mine's already spoken for. I kissed her. It wasn't soft. It wasn't sweet. It was armor. But even as her lips pressed against mine, I felt her hesitate. She was hiding something again. I felt it in the way she held me too tightly, like she already feared losing me. That night, we returned to the surface in search of new safe houses, only to find the city changed. Flyers with my face on them, missing, armed and dangerous, plastered across alley walls and bus stops. And beneath the text, in a font only someone like Celeste would recognize, glyphs, warding symbols, detection runes. ISA wasn't trying to kill us. She was trying to track me. She's not after you, I whispered, realization sinking like frost. She wants me. She thinks you're her key, Celeste said bitterly. To what? To the next generation of monsters. I laughed without joy. She really doesn't get irony. She doesn't see you as human anymore. Neither do I, not fully. But I do, Celeste said, eyes burning. You're more human than anyone I've ever met. Even now. I raised my hand. Sparks danced at my fingertips. The same shadow light I'd seen in her, now coiling in me. Especially now. The next attack came, without warning. A pulse grenade shattered the windows of the warehouse we were using. Celeste shielded me with her body, but the blast still knocked us both across the room. When I came to, she was gone. The floor was scorched. The air reeked of blood. And in the center of the room, in silver chalk, one word.
Come.
Rage doesn't feel hot. It feels sharp, like metal dragged across your bones. I followed the trail they left, every step heavier with something that wasn't entirely mine. Power, hunger, vengeance. I didn't need to track them. I felt her, like a phantom limb torn from me. I stormed ISA's compound at dusk. Alone, armed with knives laced in celestial iron, my blood burning with whatever Celeste awakened in me. I killed the first 2 guards without blinking. The third begged. I didn't listen. I reached the central chamber and found her there, bound in chains that shimmered with runes, her head hanging, hair soaked in blood. Celeste. She lifted her head slowly. Her lips were split. Her eyes glowed dimly. Riley, she whispered, and it broke me because she said it like it was the last time she'd dare. I'm here, I said, rushing forward. But the runes lit up, burning my skin before I touched them. Behind me, the door clicked shut, and ISA's voice slithered through the darkness. You came faster than I expected. I turned. She was human, yes, but only technically. Her presence was sharp, surgical, her eyes too steady. Let her go, I said. She's not the one I need. You are. You don't own me. But I created you. Or did she not tell you? My heart stuttered. What? ISA smiled. Your blood's been strange since birth, hasn't it? Too hot, too fast. Doctors said you were fine. But you always knew something was waiting inside you. I shook my head. No, she didn't awaken it. She triggered it. You were already half monster. I looked at Celeste. Is that true? She nodded slowly, shame in her every movement. I wanted to protect you from it. You lied to me. I didn't know for sure. I only suspected. And you didn't ask? ISA moved closer. You're not a vampire, Riley. You're something older. Something buried. But I can help you unlock it. Why would I let you? Because if you don't, she dies. She dies either way if you keep her in those chains. Not if you let me take you apart. Piece by piece. I turned back to Celeste. She wasn't pleading. She never pleaded. But her eyes begged. Don't do this. What am I, Celeste? I asked. Tell me. Now. You're a Cambion, she whispered. Half human. Half something else. Something infernal? Yes. Demonic? Not evil. Just unbound. And you thought keeping that from me would protect me? I thought if I gave you love, it would be enough. It almost was. I turned to ISA. Let her go. You can have what you came for. I won't fight. Riley, no. Celeste cried. Shut up, ISA snapped. You don't get a voice in this. She's my voice, I growled. Isa blinked. Her throat spasmed. She staggered. And the runes cracked. Not from force. From me. From my voice. From power that didn't want to be contained anymore. The chain shattered. Celeste fell. I caught her before she hit the floor. You idiot, she whispered, weak. You beautiful idiot. You lied to me. I know. Don't ever do it again. I won't. I turned, and Isa was gone. Only ash remained. Did I kill her? I asked. Not yet, Celeste said, struggling to rise. But you will. Together? Always. I helped her stand. Blood dripped from her mouth. My hand trembled. But it wasn't fear. It was fire. I'm not afraid of what I am anymore, I said. Good, she whispered, resting her head against mine. Because I never was. We ran, but not out of fear. Out of necessity. The city was no longer safe, not even in the cracks and corners where the monsters used to hide. Isa may have vanished in the chamber, but her reach still spread like smoke in every direction. Celeste was weak, her strength frayed from the runes and blood loss, yet she didn't let go of my hand once. Where are we going? I asked as we ducked into a forgotten tunnel beneath the cemetery on Hollow Street. To someone older than both of us, she said. Someone who can explain what you are. I don't need a prophecy. I need a plan. They're the same thing now. We traveled for hours through ruins, crossing into the no-man's land that split the human world from the supernatural. I didn't ask how Celeste knew the way. She'd lived too long not to remember every map etched in dirt and scar. Finally, we reached a glade that pulsed like a heartbeat. The air shimmered with violet and gold, and at its center stood a cottage that shouldn't have existed, wooden, humming with power, guarded by thorn and wind. This is where she lives, Celeste said. She? The witch. What kind of witch? The last kind. The door creaked open before we touched it. A woman stepped out, barefoot, silver-haired, eyes like oil and starlight. She looked at Celeste first, then at me, and she flinched, not in fear, but in recognition. You brought her, the witch said. I didn't think you'd dare. I didn't have a choice. You always do. The witch turned to me, stepping close, touching my face with 2 fingers. Ah, the Cambion child. No wonder the earth's been trembling. Do you know what I am? I asked. I know what you can become. And what's that? A queen. Or a weapon. What about love? She laughed. That's the most dangerous of the 3. We entered her home. Inside, time bent. Candles burned without melting. Books rearranged themselves. And the walls whispered when we looked away. Celeste stood close, her arm brushing mine, her body leaning on me just enough to remind me she trusted me to hold her up. The witch poured a liquid that shimmered like molten dusk. Drink this, she said. Why? Because the hell inside you is waking, and it will consume you unless you understand it. I hesitated. Celeste nodded once. I drank, and the world changed. Fire tore through me, but it didn't burn. It revealed. I saw myself, reflected not in mirrors, but in memory. I saw the first time I lied as a child, and enjoyed it. I saw the fury I felt when I was betrayed, and the way the walls seemed to bend with my pain. I saw my mother's eyes, full of fear she never voiced. I saw shadows curled around my heart, not waiting to devour, but to serve. And I saw Celeste. Every time. A constant. A gravity. A choice. When I opened my eyes, the cottage was still. Celeste sat beside me, wide-eyed, breathless. I saw you, I said. In every memory. You were never alone, she whispered. Not even before we met. The witch nodded. You were always meant to meet. Fire calls to fire. So what now? I asked. Now, she said, you choose what to do with a power that's no longer sleeping. I stood. My body hummed. My skin glowed faintly, runes appearing on my arms without ink. My voice was steady. We fight. Even if it means killing Isa? Celeste asked. Especially if it means killing Isa. And after? After, I want to build something that isn't made of blood. With me? Only with you. The witch smiled. Then you'll need the key. She reached into her chest, not her clothes, her chest, and pulled out a shard of obsidian shaped like a fong. This opens the vault, where Isa is hiding what's left of your soul. My soul? I asked. She took it when you were born, the witch said. Your human side. She hid it to ensure you'd never feel whole. Without it, you're a storm with no anchor. Then I'll take it back. Be warned, she said. It will change you. I'm already changing. Celeste stepped forward. We do this together. Are you strong enough? I asked. Not alone. But I'm not alone anymore, am I? Never again. That night, we didn't speak much. We lay on the floor of the witch's cottage, our fingers entwined, our breath slow, sinking. She kissed me once, gently. Not like fire, like rain after fire. And I whispered into her neck, I love you. She stiffened. Say it again. I love you. No one said that to me in 100 years. Then let me say it for 100 more. She didn't cry, but she closed her eyes like she wanted to remember the sound forever. The next morning, we left. The witch gave us weapons forged from forgotten languages. She gave us blessings written in blood and bone. And she gave us warnings we didn't heed. Isa's vault was beneath the city, in the belly of a train station long since sealed. Getting there meant crawling through rot and metal and memory. The doors responded to the shard instantly. They opened not like steel, but like flesh. Inside, the air choked. Symbols glowed. The vault pulsed. At its center, a mirror. And inside the mirror, I saw her. Not Celeste. Me. But hollow. Pale. Silent. Your soul, Celeste whispered. It's waiting. I stepped forward. The mirror called. And behind us, the door slammed shut. Isa's voice filled the room. You made it, she said, stepping from the shadows, eyes wild. I knew you would. Just in time to die with the thing you love most. I moved fast. My blade found her ribs. But she laughed. You can't kill what you don't understand. Celeste launched forward, teeth bared, magic blazing. Isa was faster. She struck Celeste across the chest with a spell that shouldn't exist. Celeste screamed. Fell. I lost control. Fire roared from my mouth. Shadows wrapped around Isa. The mirror cracked. I felt the vault shake. I screamed her name, Celeste, and she looked at me with blood on her lips. Don't let her win. Not without you, I said. The mirror shattered. My soul poured back into me like light. And when I stood, bones healing, skin burning, I wasn't Riley Santos the detective anymore. I was something else. Something whole. Isa backed away, afraid for the first time. What are you? She whispered. I smiled. Yours to fear. And then I let go. The vault shattered around us like it was made of light, not stone. As the mirror dissolved into sparks and shadow, my body flooded with something primal, ancient mine. Not borrowed, not gifted. Mine. My soul returned not as a whisper, but as a roar. And Isa felt it. I saw the moment her arrogance cracked. Her breath caught. Her pupils widened. For the first time, she didn't look like a scientist dissecting the chaos. She looked like a woman drowning in it. You should have killed her when you had the chance, Celeste rasped from behind me, still on the ground, blood slicking her chest. But now it's too late. I turned toward Isa slowly. I wasn't trembling. I wasn't shaking. I was still. A silence, so complete it devoured everything she tried to say. You want to know what I am? I said, voice like ash and thunder. I'm what happens when the thing you tried to break puts itself back together. Isa stepped backward, but the vault had no exit now. Only a reckoning. You think love makes you strong, she hissed. Love is a liability. An infection. Then maybe I'll infect the whole damn world. I moved faster than sound. Her spell ignited midair and died before it reached me. My hand wrapped around her throat, not to crush, but to burn. Shadows crawled up her skin like vines. Her power shrieked against mine. For a moment, the chamber became a storm. Magic against magic, scream against silence. And I said her name like a curse. "Isa, you're still half human," she snarled. "You feel. You hesitate."
"You're right," I said.
"I do feel." And I turned toward Celeste, who had dragged herself to her knees, blood soaking through her robe. I ran to her, fell beside her, held her like she was the only thing real in a world made of ghosts. "Don't die," I whispered. "Don't you dare die on me now." She smiled through her pain. "That's my line. I need you. You always had me. I'm not ready." "Then hurry." Behind us, Isa rose, and her body, twisting now, unraveling, was no longer human. Her skin peeled away like paper. Her spine cracked outward. Her magic was no longer refined or clever. It was raw, ancient, blasphemous. "If I can't have her soul," she screeched, "I'll take yours instead." She charged. Celeste shoved me aside with her last ounce of strength, took the brunt of Isa's next attack. A scream tore through her. My heart shattered. The room bent, and something inside me broke completely. I rose, slowly, unblinking. I didn't speak. I commanded. The shadows obeyed. My voice cut through the spellwork Isa tried to bind me with. My hands moved with memory I never learned. Runes bloomed across my skin like flame made of scripture, and I reached into Isa's heart, not physically, not violently, magically. I pulled. She choked. Her body convulsed. I yanked harder. Not just her power. Her intent. The part of her that fed on control, on fear, on domination. I devoured it. And she screamed like something being unmade. "This is what you wanted," I whispered. "Now drown in it." She collapsed, what was left of her human shape curling inward like a burned leaf. Her last words were not in English. Not in any language I knew. But Celeste flinched at the sound. "It's done," I said. I dropped to my knees beside her again. She was paler now, her skin cold, her lips stained red. "I'm still here," she whispered.
"Barely."
"I'll fix this," I said. "You already did." "No, Riley," she interrupted. "I felt you. I saw what you became." "A monster?"
"No."
"A miracle." "Don't go." "I don't want to." "Then stay." I cradled her head. My tears fell freely now, not from fear, from fury. I kissed her lips, and her mouth moved faintly. "You love me?" "More than anything," I said. "Then listen closely. There's one more place we haven't gone. One last door. Where? Inside you." Her hand moved, weak but certain, and pressed to my chest. "Take me there." "I don't understand. You don't need to. Just trust." I closed my eyes. Let her in. Not physically. Not magically. Soul deep. Our bond, already frayed and lit, ignited completely. In that moment, I let go of the last boundary. I allowed our essences to fuse, not through blood, not through ritual, but through truth. And suddenly we were no longer two. We were one. My body became her shelter. Her spirit my flame. Her breath steadied. Her pain dulled. And when she opened her eyes again, something else was looking out of them. Something whole. "What just happened?" I whispered. "You kept me alive," she said. "You called me home." I felt her inside me. Not haunting. Not possessing. Just there. Like a heartbeat I didn't realize I'd lost. "You're part of me now," I said. "And I'm part of you." Is it supposed to feel like this? Like falling through fire and landing in water? Yeah. Then yes. We walked out of the vault arm in arm. Isa's body remained, but her power was gone. Burnout. Her legacy undone. The city didn't feel the shift right away. But it would. The Pale Ward was leaderless now. The order scattered. And in the silence that followed, the monsters began to emerge again. Not as threats, but as truths. Beings who had hidden, hunted, feared. We stood at the edge of dawn. Celeste beside me, her strength still returning, my power humming under my skin. What happens now? She asked. We rebuild. The world.
No.
Us. You're not afraid of me? Never was. Not even now that we're this? Especially now. I feel you inside me. Good. I'm never leaving. We kissed as the first light of morning cracked the sky. And for the first time, neither of us pulled away. Because the monster in me had always been real. But so had the love. And in the end, the love was stronger. They called it the rise. The world didn't end the day ISA fell. It cracked open. Slowly, like ice under weight. The supernatural didn't disappear. It revealed itself. No explosions, no wars. Just a quiet shift in the air. A current that said, we are no longer hiding. The creatures stepped into the light for the first time in centuries. Vampires. Witches. Shifters. Beings that had only ever lived in myth and fear began to breathe again, not because they were suddenly accepted, but because one of their own had broken the rules and lived. The Pale Ward tried to rally. But without ISA's vision, without her cruelty, they fractured. Some fled. Some begged forgiveness. Some disappeared into the very darkness they used to hunt. And in the silence that followed, a new name began to rise. Not whispered. Not feared. Respected. Santos. I didn't want to lead. I wanted to love. But people, monsters, humans, everyone in between, they looked at me like I was more than what I'd become. They looked at me like I meant something. And maybe I did. But only because of her. Celeste healed slowly. The bond between us, formed in blood, forged in battle, sustained her when her body faltered. Some nights I'd find her standing at the edge of the rooftop, the wind in her hair, the city pulsing beneath her. They're still scared of me, she said one night. They're not, I answered, stepping behind her. They're in awe. Of what? Of the woman who chose not to destroy the world, even though she could. They see what you see. Exactly. Then they're fools. I turned her to face me, touched her cheek. Then I'm the biggest fool of all. You gave me back something I didn't believe existed anymore. A soul? No, she said softly. A future. We moved into a house outside the city. Nothing dramatic. A stone cottage wrapped in ivy and light. It had a cellar for her and windows for me. It had silence when we needed it and space for the ghosts we hadn't quite buried. But it wasn't a hiding place.
It was a choice.
We traveled. To old forests that remembered her name. To cities where my blood still hummed in alleyways. Every place we went, we wrote something new. Not history. Ourselves. She painted. I rebuilt a car engine that refused to cooperate. We fought sometimes, when she retreated too far into herself, when I wanted answers she didn't know how to give. But we never walked away. Never once. We made love slowly. Like it was a language. Like the only truth that ever mattered. She kissed the runes on my arms every morning, as if to remind herself I was still here. I traced the scar on her collarbone every night, whispering I'd choose her again.
And again.
And again. Do you miss what you were? I asked once, curled against her in the dark.
No, she said.
Because I only ever became who I wanted to be when I met you. And what am I now? My light. That's ironic.
Why?
Because I was born of shadow. Exactly. Months passed. Seasons turned. And one night, under the moon that first watched us bleed together, she got down on one knee. No ring. No theatrics. Just her, eyes steady, lips trembling. Riley Santos, she said. You saw the worst in me and loved me anyway. You brought me back from a world I thought I'd never escape. You made me believe in mornings. And if I ever deserved peace, it's because of you. Will you be mine? In every sense. I didn't cry. Not then. I just pulled her up, pressed my forehead to hers, and whispered, I already am. We married in the ruins of the church where her sire once ruled. Reclaimed it. Rebuilt it. Invited only those who understood what it meant to be unholy and still worthy of love. No priests. Just vows. I promised her fury and devotion. She promised me fire and freedom. We danced to no music. Just breath and heartbeat and magic. She wore red. I wore black. And when we kissed, the candles lit themselves. The world didn't stop. But for a moment it felt like it bowed. Later that night, lying on the altar we once bled over, she touched my lips and asked, "What are you now, Riley Santos?" I answered honestly, "Not a Cambion. Not a monster. Not a hero." "Then what?" "Yours." And she smiled like that was all she ever needed. We built a haven. A sanctuary for those like us. Lost things, fierce hearts, broken pieces looking to be whole. We taught them to control their power. We taught them to love without shame. We taught them that shadows don't make you evil, and light doesn't make you pure.
We taught them that we exist.
Together. Chosen. Eternal. I still dream, sometimes, of the first night I saw her. That impossible woman stepping out of the dark, elegant and unreadable, the kind of beautiful that made you forget who you were. I remember thinking, she'll destroy me. And she did. But what rose from the ashes was someone I never knew I could become. Someone stronger. Wilder.
Loved.
Celeste Moreau wasn't the case I failed. She was the mystery that rewrote every truth I believed about myself. She wasn't my ending. She was my beginning. And together, we were